Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the only podcast produced by three winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. You're tuned into the Check Engine podcast, streaming through Anchor.fm or wherever else podcasts are streamed through Apple, Spotify, Google, all of those good places, plus others. My name's Nick. With me, as always, are my two co-hosts, Andrew and Tristan. Andrew, how have you been since the last time we talked? What did you do this weekend?
Man, so many things went on since we last did an episode. You had a trip. We did a trip. I mean...
We had field assignments.
Yeah, definitely. And they were pretty successful, I will say, judging by the social media reaction, which has been fantastic. So thank you, everyone, for that. Super encouraging. I mean, we just got a ton of stuff to talk about.
Okay, now I have to introduce Tristan, though. Tristan, what did you do this weekend?
I think I might have joined a club.
But it was a gang. It was a gang.
A gang. We'll get to that.
I need to hear more about this. You brought that up somewhere. Was that a text you brought that up to me?
Remember, all the best gangs call themselves clubs.
Definitely.
Oh, for sure.
I joined a club with that little space there.
But yeah, we'll get to all of that later. Folks, we're not pros. We're just fans of cars. We're fans of racing. And everything involved with the culture and with motorsports and all those types of things. And we love talking about this stuff, but we love talking about this stuff with you, not just at you. So please, thanks for listening, but we don't want you to just listen. Let's start an interaction. Let's start a dialogue back and forth. We have our own webpage, checkenginepodcast.com. You can reach us on there. There's a group email, inbox at checkenginepodcast.com. You start at checkenginepodcast.com. It'll take you pretty much anywhere you need to go. So what is on the agenda for this evening?
I mean...
You had the mic muted, and then you unmute the mic, and then clear your throat.
And then Kermit the Frog into that thing.
Yeah, I went full milk voice. I'm not even drinking milk. We are going to talk about our trips. I mean, we haven't really gotten together to talk about anything that either Nick experienced or that we experienced. So this is all going to be just brand new off the top reaction stuff.
Yeah, there were a few texts back and forth kind of like, whoa, this happened, we're doing this. But there hasn't been any discussion of our experiences at all. So it should be, I'm interested to hear. Actually, I was on the phone with my mom earlier, and she's like, hey, what did Nick think of Daytona? I was like, I have no idea. And that's the whole point.
It could have been terrible.
Yeah.
And yeah, we want as much live reaction as possible. And those of you who are really in touch, most of my Daytona stuff is already up on the most recent blog, but this is the first chance for everybody to kind of hear about it. So that's what we're going to get into. But first...
Don't get into it, but first.
Pace laps.
I got a quick one that's very good and also kind of sad. I think when last time we were here to record, or maybe we were going somewhere, I can't quite remember. One of you, I think it was you, Tristan, mentioned that Mercedes stopped making the sunburst yellow SLCs. They're bringing it back, actually. They're bringing back the sunburst yellow color. Super iconic. I mean, anyone who knows a small Mercedes Roadster has definitely seen one in the sunburst yellow.
In this color.
Yes.
It's coming back, and then they're killing off the car.
What?
I mean, they're just ending this generation.
Oh.
So they're bringing it back as sort of like the last hurrah of whatever this generation is of the SL. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's good.
All right.
So kind of like a final edition commemorative thing.
Oh, we got more final edition news too, Nick.
Yeah, I know.
There's more final edition news, Nick.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. I have prepared myself.
Just a little one. I mean, I think that's good. There aren't enough yellow cars, and there aren't enough really yellow cars, and this is just like the purest yellow color.
Yeah, everyone, like most, now it's some shade of gray, black, white, and we'll throw in a red for a little bit of color, but you miss a lot of the real vibrant colors, unless you can afford a Lamborghini, because then you can get all the most vibrant colors.
Well, yeah.
Andrew did mention that on his one of his auto show deep cuts though, unless you're Kia.
Yeah. Oh God, we're gonna talk about that. 'Cause I'm still mad about that actually.
But no, it's rare you see those colors. But Mercedes, even of the German manufacturers, Mercedes tends to be the brand that is voted most likely to be run by a colorblind person. Because
Yes.
they choose the most vibrant colors. Like I put hot sauce and everything because I can't taste anything. I think Mercedes makes their cars the color they do because someone who's colorblind is running the design department.
I mean,
It has
yeah,
to
it
be.
really is only silver and black.
Yeah, and then
Sometimes
and
white.
then when they make a color, it's so bright that you cannot not know what it is.
Definitely true.
That's what my dad said. It's like, oh, I can always see those. It's like, yeah, well, there you go. So, proof in a nutshell.
Does your dad run Mercedes design department?
On the secret, maybe.
Maybe.
I
That'd
can't,
be cool.
I can't prove that.
That'd
He
be pretty
does
sweet.
love that lime green that they make.
It is a great color.
Have you seen the G-Wagon in that color?
No.
Yikes.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of green.
Lime green.
Yeah.
I don't like the G-Wagon regardless of the color, to be perfectly honest.
It's fine. I don't feel a way about it, really.
I really don't either. I don't have any opinions on that vehicle as a whole.
I frankly often just don't think of it.
Well, no, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You think of like iconic off-roaders. It's like, oh, Land Rovers and Jeeps and
I wouldn't even put it in that. Do I have to put it in that
4Runners
category? I don't want to.
yeah, technically.
Yeah,
That's what it was for, and it actually is still good at.
Well, I know, but iconic is so overused. I don't know.
Oh, I see. You just don't like the word.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever. That's a different discussion.
Maybe we have another episode idea.
Yeah. Moving on from paint colors.
Things that Andrew can consider iconic. Episode 1.
It's nothing.
It's about
nothing.
4 minutes of him saying no, no, no to every suggestion I bring up.
exactly.
There we go.
Worst.
Got it.
The worst, no.
We're
No,
going to
the
do
worst.
that now, by the way. We're going to do that as an episode.
It's not going to be an episode. It's just going to be a segment.
Yeah.
Is it iconic?
No. All right, next.
Next,
Listen, that is the whole... No. No.
Almost got him.
we almost roped him into it. Damn it.
I'm not doing this. This is what I'm doing. I'm telling you about a very interesting story that I read about in automotive
Is
news.
it about how iconic the G-Wagon is?
No, but it is about iconic manufacturing
Oh, there you
company, Borg Warner.
Oh,
Okay.
They have recently acquired 2 specialty car shops based in Portland that are focused on EVs. This wouldn't otherwise be huge news, except that with the acquisition of these 2 companies, they now have companies under the Borg Warner name to produce and manufacture the entire EV power plant, batteries, drive lines, everything. And for people who may not know, Borg Warner is not only a huge name in the industry, but I mean, they make major complicated parts, turbos and all this other
yeah,
stuff
those
for
differentials.
for everybody.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and they don't, like, people may not know them because what they make isn't, like, the sexy stuff that you see on covers of magazines and, like, what's advertised in certain places. But they reach out and touch probably more of the auto industry than almost any other company with all the components and all
Yeah.
the parts that they make.
I just think it's so interesting because theoretically, Borg Warner is positioning itself to be a one-stop shop for a company that just wants an EV. They could theoretically create an entire platform and sell that on their own.
I mean, already their job is to be a parts bin, and now they have all the EV parts.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Well, they could release their own like under the Borg Warner name EV if they wanted to, or
Yeah.
they can just say, hey, we've got one start to finish. Let's talk licensing and just
Yeah.
see who wants to throw their badge on it for little to no effort.
Suggestion from
Yeah.
a suggestion from a rank amateur: don't sell it under Borg Warner. Nobody wants their
not
technology to have Borg on it if you're a nerd, and otherwise, it's just not a pretty name.
Yeah.
It's a great name,
It is a great name.
iconic even, but not pretty.
Ah,
No, it
Yeah,
is.
it is
I
iconic.
said that. I said that in the intro. Just for record of how, a reference of how big Borg Warner is. Their sales in 2017, just parts to other companies, 9.8 billion.
yep.
Billion.
With
So
a B.
they make a lot of stuff. I think that's really interesting. We'll see. We'll see what they do.
That's I didn't hear that. That's very intriguing.
It is.
Let's see what Borg Warner does with that.
Right, and I don't know of any other company, even car manufacturers, including Tesla, who have the full distribution under their own house for making EVs. I mean, Tesla's batteries are made by Panasonic. Borg Warner, they wouldn't have to be. Very
Right,
interesting.
It's all in-house. Speaking of Tesla,
What you got?
old Uncle Elon said that Tesla's autonomous capabilities are going to be done by the end of this year.
Oh, that's a lie.
I know. I just figured I'd bring it up.
That's a lie. There was also a small little Citroen, I think, whizzing around, and all the articles were headline, "You don't need a license to drive this car." Well, it's not a real car.
We discussed this in our categories episode.
Yeah.
In this case, it's a golf cart.
Yes.
It's not a motorcycle with 3 wheels. It's a golf cart.
So my 7-year-old nephew could drive one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is
Not
a
that
Power
big a
Wheels.
Oh, yes. It's a Power Wheels. Better than a golf cart. I like that.
We need to reclassify it.
Yes.
Bring up that episode again. Start over.
Sticking to kind of the EV kind of things, I did see, I think one of the best uses for a Tesla is to not be a Tesla. I think it's to be used as a modification or like driveline platform. Somebody put together actually built and is offering for sale a Model S shooting brake, and it looks good. It looks good.
Who is offering it? Do we know?
I don't have the name off the top of my head.
So it'd be like a...
It's like a boutique manufacturer.
Yeah, it's like it's a custom coachwork thing. It's not
coachwork, yeah.
It's not like they're just like gonna make thousands of them. But I thought it looked good.
Well, I mentioned
sure
I mentioned
enough,
in the
here's the article there.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah. Oh, that's not a shooting brake. That's a wagon.
I know. Well, it's not quite long enough to be a wagon.
No, that's a wagon.
That's a wagon.
It's got 4 doors.
4 doors.
That's a wagon, bro.
If a coupe can have 4 doors, so can a shooting brake. 4-door coupe, 4-door shooting brake.
This is why we can't just throw around words like shooting brake and iconic phrases. That they have to have meaning, and they don't have meaning if everything's everything. All right? Don't look at me like that. I'm not saying any more. All right is the end.
It does look good, but
Yeah.
that's not the only. That's not the only. I mean, I mentioned in the Bring Back from the Dead episode that Celine does their own souped up version. That GTX is a souped up Tesla.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
and that looks
true.
looks good too.
yeah,
Like,
I think it's a great platform to not be a Tesla.
When there was, 3 or 4 weird custom shop Teslas at SEMA this year. So
What? Sorry. At where?
SEMA?
We don't care about that, do we?
I'm just saying, this is what happened there.
Oh. How did you know? You're not press.
I saw it covered in all the press
Oh, there you
because they
go.
only cover
Yeah,
the same
there you
things
go,
when they go
that's
there.
No, there was one. There was like some like big like late model kind of deal. It looked like a late model dirt tracker, but had like a Tesla driveline in it and some other big like an old Lincoln or something with Tesla driveline in it. It's like, we get it. You can put that driveline in anything. Move on in that regard. But then there's some really nice creative stuff that is kind of neat. I like that shooting wagon.
Just say wagon.
Wagon
Things can be
brake.
wagons. Things can just be wagons.
I know. I love wagons.
before we're off the topic of EVs, real quick, Tesla gut check.
No, are you kidding me?
No, I'm out.
All right, still out. Okay, we're all still out.
Speaking of out, you know what's on the way out?
The C7.
The C7. There is currently a national stock of 232 days of C7s.
Okay,
And there's a reason for this.
because the C8's coming.
And Chevy incentivizes dealers who order Corvettes, not dealerships who sell them.
No, they want them sitting on the lot for
Yeah.
people to see.
Yeah.
I'll give a damn if you sell it. You just want people to see
He
it.
knew about this the whole time. He never said anything.
He knows it all about that. I know.
I thought that was weird. And anyways, the next Corvette's going to be mid-engined. They had them testing in California. They looked
They had
pretty
five. They had
cool.
5 of them.
I know. I saw the video. I
There's
was
a
like, "There's
fleet.
mad." Okay,
Flock of mid-engine Corvettes.
A flock of Corvettes.
and that's definitely not a Cadillac. That's definitely
I,
Corvette.
I know.
That's why
We're going to be as right about this as we were about the ugly Supra.
Oh God.
Oh, I got more on that.
We do too.
We do too. Hey, all right. Natural segue. Yes.
All
Love
right,
it.
so what did you guys do this weekend?
Tristan, why don't you tell him what we did?
Well, we ate at Point Burger Bar and no,
Do that. Played some arcade games.
Yeah, it was
Tristan
great.
got a major addiction to the game where like you drop the coins in and then like the thing pushes them forward.
yeah, you say get like I didn't already have it. This is a long-standing.
Well, I finally saw the evidence of it.
yeah,
Really?
yep. That's from like the clown the carnivals at like Fowler Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had those there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that thing? If anyone knows what that thing is called, please comment it because
Clown pushers.
It's not a clown pusher. This one had no clowns except for you. You were the clowns.
Yeah, it was pushing me to drop more coins in instead of
Shut
the pusher.
We talk about something for once.
Yes, we actually, in fact, drove down to the Chicago International Auto Show.
We did. While Nick was away on his big vacation, we took a little one down
Yes.
to Chicago where it was super windy and cold.
Yes, I
Go figure.
I unlocked the latest in the achievement set for the Manual Gearbox Preservation Society
did.
and drove my car through Chicago traffic, which was not, not all that hard.
You didn't rent a car to go down to Chicago.
Why would I? No, I wouldn't rent a car to go to Chicago. I also didn't borrow my girlfriend's car.
Well, what'd you guys see? Tell me about it.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how we can set this up. We can talk about the show first, or we can come to terms with the fact that Tristan joined a gang. And
Let's start there. Chronologically, that's where to start.
that did happen
Start
first.
at the very beginning.
Oh, the gang thing happened right off the bat?
Right
Right
away.
off the bat.
So the rest of that trip was downhill.
Before we even got into the show.
Yeah, we weren't even there. We were in Chicago for like 10 minutes maybe.
And he joined a gang.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Man, we
We're-
can't leave you alone
we're-
for, well, apparently 10 minutes.
I was with him. It
Yeah,
didn't
the
matter.
best thing is he couldn't stop me. No, we were driving just to park at McCormick Place, and
I love how you put the accent on place there, McCormick Place.
who is this guy?
I don't know. I just know it's
Anyway, I was parking at McCormick Glass, and traffic is kind of sorting itself out. People who don't want to park are getting the hell out of the lane, and everyone's lining up to pull into where you park. And as if out of nowhere,
Completely out of nowhere.
2 other WRXs are right in front of me. They both have Wisconsin plates on them.
Yes.
And then suddenly I go...
And they were both all modded crazy.
Yes.
Like, with the pipes and the, like the alternative logos where like one is like lime green on gray. I mean, full on.
Bigger wing.
Yeah.
All sorts of
Car
stuff.
tattoos.
The dual wing, one guy had the spoiler and the roof one.
Oh,
Yep.
shit.
Vortex Jennies.
Yep.
And so I'm like, but the one in front of us was modded, but it wasn't too loud.
No.
But suddenly I hear something that's definitely not my exhaust from behind me. Because in certain circumstances, I can hear my own, has to be just right. It wasn't it. I'm like, what the? So I tilt the rearview mirror, and there's more behind me.
Like 6.
Yeah. Like there were like 9 of these guys.
All Wisconsin plates.
Yep. So we filter in with the rest of the Wisconsin WRXs.
And one of them flashed him a gang sign. I saw it.
Yeah.
And he did it back.
Really?
I don't even know what it was. What was it?
It was like the peace sign out the
It's
window
like
or
just
something. Yeah.
one of these. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
the
on
gang
the
sign?
way out.
Was that on the way
It
out?
was.
It was on
There was
wow.
one coming in. That was an Illinois plate, but they did
fuck
do
that guy.
one of those like tip of the hat like one finger from
yeah.
in the rearview mirror because he could see me. And I was like, "Yo."
It was interesting watching this bonding moment go by.
And they park us all over hell and back again.
I've never seen it. They parked us in with the semi trucks.
You know, like the truck staging. Like
Well, that's where they
found-
put the gangs. They want them causing trouble.
They didn't put us all there. That's the thing.
That's actually really good.
They parked the gang over like 3 square miles of parking lot, from what I can
You
tell.
can't cause trouble.
Yeah, gotta
so you
spread
can't
them out.
have
You got to
a,
separate them.
yeah.
Can't sit there bouncing off the limiter, going bang, bang, bang all
Exactly,
together. Yeah, there you
exactly.
go. But yeah, so got out, had a very nice conversation with.
With the tallest, he would have made you look wild short.
Really?
He was taller than you, and he
By a lot.
simply unfolded himself from inside this
I
WRX.
actually was afraid.
Well, that doesn't, to be fair, that doesn't take much. A lot of things scare you.
but I was looking out at the lake, and I turned around. I was like, I almost went, "Oh my god!"
out loud.
Yes, out loud.
You almost said that out loud.
Yes.
Oh my god.
This guy was 6'8" if he was a foot tall. Holy crap.
Yeah, so he go gadgeted himself out of this WRX and just starts chit chatting. We're like, hey, Wisconsin plates, what are the chances? Like, just conversation, and they are part of, was it 608 Subarus?
608 Subarus. Yeah.
I've seen that decal.
I've tried to find him on Facebook. I don't know if it's like a closed group or what.
Closed or
I couldn't
hidden or
find
whatever,
him.
because he said they're part of the southwestern Wisconsin Subaru Owners Club, but then they made their own Facebook page for certain other activities, like this one and stuff like that, and just chit chatting, like, yeah, hey, I'm out there, one time a week. I'm a 608 Subaru, like.
But you know what's
and-
so weird? Like the first guy that we maybe this is so weird. The first guy that we talked to, the first thing he said to Tristan was, "Is that your first one?"
They knew.
They knew.
That's creepy.
It was kind of creepy.
I think it's because it wasn't modified.
that has to be
It's
it, right?
stock. It's bone stock. That's,
Yeah.
Well, no, you modded it a slight teeny weeny bit.
But he didn't put the sticker on.
Right. No, I didn't have the COD sticker on the back, so no one could tell.
Secret
must
mod.
be it.
Secret mod.
Yeah. But it was weird. It's like, oh, hey, is that your first one? It's like looking around like, is he watching me at home? Yes. That is. How'd you know that? But yeah, had, like everything from mine was the newest and all the way back to like Blob Eye, like early generation ones, all together. It was kind of neat. It
Yeah,
was,
it couldn't have been nicer. Totally cool guys.
yeah, super.
Did you tell him about the podcast?
We did. We had our gear on when we went.
Yeah, we did. We all wore the sweatshirts and stuff.
Beautiful.
That's another story.
It is.
Awesome.
But yeah, so right from the get go, it was an engaging show, and I got to get made fun of by Andrew. So everything's great.
Yes. That really did help.
That's what I love about, car culture. It's the camaraderie right there. Like, that's awesome. You have something, you automatically have something in common with someone. Like, there's automatically a reason to approach them and start a conversation.
Yeah, which is
Not for
the
you.
opposite of what Andrew wants.
Not for you, Andrew, but
But it was funny to roll into Auto Show Chicago at the same time as half of the WRX owners in the greater Madison area.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
very cool. So that happened first.
That
Take
was
me through.
first.
Yeah, what's up? What happened next? Well,
Right away when we walked into the show, the first thing that surprised me was that, typically you walk in to the biggest hall, boom, Honda, right there in the front.
Normally.
there's like the consumer
Normally.
hall and like the luxury hall.
Yeah.
and that was shuffled.
It was a little bit, but also right in the front spot, total surprise, it was not Honda. It was actually Hyundai.
Yep.
Right there in the entrance. And all the cars were in the front, which was also weird because Honda has been putting the Ridge line right out in the front of their displays. So Hyundai just had all their cars there, which is kind of weird, like SUVs towards the back.
And prominently featuring.
The N and the whole Veloster line.
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yep.
Just right there in the blue.
Is that where you got the shirt that you're currently wearing?
No, this is from the internet. I'm wearing a shirt with a Veloster on it. It matches my phone
It
case.
says
the
the
same
high
company, the High
life.
Life.
The
It's literally
high,
an Instagram account.
the Hyundai life.
Yeah, I
Nice.
just like their logo and this art that they had done.
This art.
Yeah, but I was very surprised to see Hyundai in the front because I assume that spot costs more, right? Because the first one you walk in,
Yeah.
It has to.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has
But
to.
so they brought not only the N, which they had in person, you could go in, really awesome. I need that car. But they also had a full display for the R spec and a bunch of aftermarket parts, both that they have already for sale and that they want to put on sale. And they also had like a little racing sim booth where you could drive the N.
And they had the i30N race car.
Yeah,
was
they
there.
did.
TCR
I
car
thought-
was there.
It was kind of an interesting display from Hyundai. It's not at all what I would expect from any company right now, featuring the cars, featuring the performance, but also for them to be in the one spot, as it were, right when you walked in. Very interesting.
Yep.
Good for them. How'd you do on the simulator?
The one opportunity we had to go actually try it, they were closing for lunch, unfortunately.
The
So
line had a barrier across it.
yeah,
so
and then when we were going to do it at the end of the day, it was impossible.
4 hours.
We went on the last Saturday, and I've never seen it that busy. It was wild.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, that's good
it's
Yeah.
good.
in
It's
a way
good,
for the business, for the car culture that we were talking about. Yeah, that's
for
awesome.
us, it was a little tough because we didn't have many interesting experiences to bring you. However, one that we did have, we got there early enough to get on the Kia Torque Track,
Yes.
which featured something that I was initially very excited about and came away less excited about, but I still think is an interesting product. The Kia, as they will inform you at the booth, the Telluride.
Telluride.
They have all the little L's and syllables get said there, and they had it going on like a little off-road course, kind of like Jeep and Ram have done over the years.
Oh, yeah.
With distinctly less ramp though.
Definitely less ramp.
But they had these Tellurides.
Were they giving Tellurides?
They were, and
So glad you weren't there.
and
Thanks, man.
I was like, man, these things look awesome. They had like
They actually did look visually very interesting.
super cool paint schemes, cool wheel and tire, like off-road wheel and tire sets, a bunch of off-road accessories bolted on them, stuff like that. And like the clearances were a little bit higher. It looked really awesome. And then you get around the back, you in the back seat could
Yeah.
see that like the shock towers had to go through
Yeah,
the
they
back
came through
floor.
the floor and they had it extra braced, and
Yeah.
that was kind of a bummer.
And so I was like, man, if these can be like Kia's, almost like Kia's Land Cruiser, where it's like a big luxurious SUV, but also very capable, this is going to be something to really take seriously.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a really nice SUV, but I think it's going to be a nice SUV in the Ford Explorer range, where it's
Yeah.
going to be mostly on-road, decent all-wheel, four-wheel drive capability. But I think it's a big step to dedicate themselves to the North American market. It was designed here, it's being built here, and it's being sold almost exclusively here. Big 3-row SUV, really good looking. It takes a lot of the... We were comparing it to like if GM decided to not just absolutely beat the living daylights out of their cars with the GM stick.
Yep.
With like tons of chrome and ridiculous lights and everything else. Like it's big and bold, but not egregiously so.
Yeah, not overbearing.
Yeah. So I was very excited initially by the cool off-road variants.
I was too. I gotta say, I would have been okay with uprated shocks, but the fact that they had to re-brace the back for the uprated shocks really kind of killed the fun.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, this is just the engine and transmission from this car, and everything else is just, you can't actually buy this.
Yeah.
Like, if it was compared to Toyota's, Pro 4X, or Nissan's Pro 4X and Toyota's TRD Pro, cars where it's like very clearly modified, a bunch of bespoke stuff.
But you can get it.
Even
like you can get it from the factory.
and even if it wasn't for sale, even if it was like, hey, we made these cool parts for it just as a demo, but you can't buy it, but it could do this if you put the right parts on it. They basically had to redesign the unibody to make this happen. It's like, yeah.
I mean, the bummer is the fact that you could tell that, the upgraded shocks were cut into the sides. Clearly, they're not going to offer that as a factory option. And given the fact that the lift that they added was maybe 2 inches,
Maybe.
I mean, it was pretty insignificant. You won't be able to get those uprated shocks, thus it won't be able to do all this cool, fun off-road stuff. It was a real bummer because the display was excellent, the cars they had looked excellent, and being in it, it was really very nice.
Yeah, it was a super nice place to be. It's fun.
How many people who were looking inside of it or taking these rides do you think actually noticed that, though? I mean,
In the back seat, I would bet a lot of people, but
that's probably what they're banking on.
yeah.
Although, I mean, all the attention's supposed to be going forward. I only noticed it because, hey, I know what that is, popping out of the floor.
Yeah.
And plus, the whole line, we were talking about whether or not this was the car.
Could I buy one of these?
Yeah, and we got up close, and Tristan was like, no, that looks like aftermarket shocks. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell they're aftermarket shocks because they're colors.
yes, exactly. How many people would notice? I have no idea.
If they're not painted underbody black, they're aftermarket. Yeah. Surprise.
Definitely.
But yeah.
Pro tip
Yeah.
from guys who aren't pros.
We also saw the Jeep Gladiator.
Which is a car for someone with my proportions.
Definitely, 100%.
It's a actually more than modestly capable truck.
I think so. I mean, that's that's the Wrangler with the bed on the back.
It's the Wrangler Unlimited truck.
Yeah.
And it had a surprisingly high, considering it's like off-road bias. Usually it's like, off-road trucks, you don't get a lot of payload, a lot of towing, because the independent rear suspension and the big travel, the shocks mess with towing capability and all that. It was very, very solid. It was like over 6,000 pounds towing, and like,
wow,
almost like 2,500 in the bed or something like that. Like a fair amount. Like it was a lot. That bed number might be a little bit high, but the towing is like 6,000. The bed, they had it with 2 motorcycles in the back of it.
They did.
Very capable truck, but yet the front is just a Jeep. So you don't so you don't get these like the massive center consoles and these huge windows and super high domed ceilings you get in a lot of these like 1,500 pickup trucks. And you sit in it and it's like, wow, boop, I just sit right in it. Like it's the perfect shape for me. And it's clearly a Jeep. Surprising, and we've talked about this in other episodes. When we say things like this, I'm gonna put a disclaimer on here, and hopefully it's not the Tristan doth protest too much. This is, I think, should be the Check Engine Podcast nominee for Surprising Women's Car of the Year. Because
Tristan actually pointed that out. We got in line to sit in the front just to see what it was like. Mm-hmm. Everybody else was a woman.
Yeah, which, again, just surprising because... a lot of women drive Wranglers, and I think that's where this is coming from. Because you look at every other pickup truck, there were no women waiting in line for it. And I know some women drive trucks.
There were women in line, however, they were very bored. Clearly, they were not going to get in.
Right, they were waiting with their husbands, and then when they get to the front of the line, they don't get in, or they scamper around to the passenger seat, or their husband very rudely sticks them in the back to see how big the space is.
It's
like
very rude.
It's literally, it's like, go get in the back. It's like, Jesus.
Mad rude.
But this one was like women dragging their husbands over, saying, I have to go sit in this. And I was surprised, honestly, looking at all the other pickup trucks, that a pickup truck would generate this many women in the line. I think
that's cool.
I think it's neat.
It's great. Haven't we asked this question before on this show? Does Tristan drive a women's car?
That was me.
That was him.
That was me. And the answer's still yeah.
Yeah.
By the way.
If I were to drive the Gladiator, the answer would be yes for me, too.
I mean, we'll see. I think it's definitely going to sell well. That was not the audience I was expecting.
Yeah, I think it's just a surprise based on because it's way in the back of the last hall, so you've already walked past all the other truck manufacturers and you haven't seen it. It's striking when you see it at the Jeep booth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
good.
Gosh.
There's a couple other Instagram posts I saw.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
Oh, you saw my Miata?
Yeah, we saw Tristan's Miata.
The Miata.
Super orange.
Super orange, limited edition, the fastback coupe that they had. It was a hard top fastback, retractable fastback. In the best orange since Fahrenheit orange.
It is quite the color.
Go Mazda go.
It makes me very happy. I will never own one.
Is that you took the picture of, you can't see the reflection in the light? Was that from the Mazda?
Yeah, that was me. I just didn't. I was there looking at the actual Miata and realized that the DRL looks exactly like a reflection would look in the headlights, and it was just a very interesting picture.
The Subaru booth had dogs.
I was gonna say, I want to hear. I saw the picture of the puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, it was such a sleepy little puppy.
Oh God, that puppy was in for a long day.
Oh yeah.
But no,
I felt bad. They didn't bring teams of puppies.
Yeah, they just tired out a few puppies very badly.
Yes.
But no, Subaru had an interesting booth. They always take up a ton of space.
They really do.
For how many cars they don't have. Here's 9 Foresters, 18 Outbacks, 5 Imprezas, 8 different kinds of WRX, including the S209.
They did have that there?
Which for me is just much too much.
Really?
Like at this point, you've given an Impreza all sorts of gene therapy and steroids and beaten it to death. It's like, okay, just make a bigger car. Like
Do
just
something else,
yeah,
right?
We get it how much you can wring out of this little car. It's impressive, etc. Do up some mad legacy.
How about just do a Crosstrek? Everyone in the world wants a WRX Crosstrek. Just shut up and do it.
Yeah, Subaru. Just do it.
Or they did for a long time make the STI Forester.
Yeah,
Yep.
bring it back.
Especially now that you can bring that to compete against things like the Edge ST. It has a
They're
market.
going to have to.
It has a market.
Right? They're going to have to do it at some point.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's amazing. It takes up so much space, and there's a handful of different models of car.
Yeah.
Like, why is Subaru taking up so much space? Turns out a good portion of it was puppies.
Which was adorable.
That's
I
awesome.
wanted to go see them, but the lines were super long, and then I kind
And you
of
could
felt
sneak
bad
in.
seeing
And you
them.
could sneak in.
So was
from
there
the
like
side.
a purpose that it helped tell a story for them? Trying because their slogan is "Love is what makes a Subaru." Like
I think it was something like Subaru loves animals. I think
Yeah,
that's
literally,
what it was.
it's like Subaru loves pets, and they had like the dog.
because they have like green manufacturing facilities and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out like is puppies just like a cheap play to get people in the
and,
booth, or is it actually like
honestly,
serve the purpose?
dogs have been a huge part of their advertising for a long time.
Yes. The only car that I'm aware of, you can buy a dog separator from the factory for Outback and Forester.
Yes, and like they make all those little like lifestyle badges for the back, and like pets is the number one selling one. Yeah, or they're free number one given away one. But yeah, no, the Subaru booth was interesting in that it was all very much the same.
They did bring the new Legacy.
They did, which looks like
The-
the same as the old Legacy.
Same car. The only thing that was notable about it is that the one that they brought was lipstick colored.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
I
this
didn't-
is the color.
I didn't know what to call it until he said that's lipstick.
It looks like lipstick.
Yeah, it does.
It's that
The
it's
photo right there that you have of the lines actually looks like lips, kind of
Oh, I guess so. Weirdly.
like a big fat.
I'll post
lip.
this on Instagram, but yeah, that was the only thing notable. Oh, and it had a big ugly touchscreen.
which Andrew is
Center
going to
stack.
have to come to terms with on one of his cars eventually.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
Those
want
touchscreens
to.
are getting huge.
Yeah,
It's like they just like pop rivet an iPad onto the.
even bigger, like
This
a
one at
23-inch
least-
TV.
This one at least they sort of designed like it had some tapering around the edges and kind of down, towards the bottom of the center stack there. But
and despite it being after we walked around and sat in all the trucks,
Yeah.
which is that was another thing I wanted to comment on. One of the weird things that two people who are maybe the least likely and the second most least likely to actually buy a truck spent a huge portion of our time wandering around from exhibit to exhibit, sitting in all the trucks.
yeah,
Just, I think it was a thought experiment. Which one is our favorite one, even though we don't really like trucks? Even though it's my pick, the Ram 1500, that display is atrocious.
yeah, it was real bad.
It's like 20 inches.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the inside of the Ram, whatever. Well, it's probably in some package tier or whatever. But their interiors have always been very loud.
Yes.
Just the way they do their angles, and they put the word Ram everywhere, which is really like pseudo-sexual and weird. I'm not into it. But yeah, now that they have these huge touchscreens in them, it's way too much.
It's a lot. I rode in one actually on the road. One of my coworkers purchased a new one, and we were driving it around for work stuff, and I was like, wow, this is a lot of touchscreen. And like everything is touchscreen, like the seat heater controls, the climate, like there are like almost no buttons. So when that breaks, you're left with a base model 1500.
Yeah, but you can't even turn the AC on.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's just
Yeah. So, but I did like the rest of it. The seats were comfortable. There's a lot of space.
Last thing before we get to the feature piece, at least the last one I can think of. Kia also brought the Forte, and they had one that was all customized body kit,
Yeah.
spoiler, lime green.
I
Kia.
saw the Insta post, and it was very green.
It is super
And that
cool looking.
cannot even capture it.
No, it looked good.
It
I'm
was
not
like
saying that as an
Patron.
insult. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Patron cars. But Kia, listen,
Breaks cameras.
if you're gonna do this, if you're really gonna do this and bring hot looking cars to your booth, you better come with something a lot better than 147 horsepower, because Hyundai is kicking ass over across the way with the same goddamn engines in everything. Just don't. We got to stop with the fake thing.
Yeah.
Make a tuner car, and that's exactly what Hyundai did. They brought the R-Spec, all badged out. with a wing from the N and a carbon fiber hood and all this.
Borla exhaust.
Well, yeah,
and-
all this stuff.
yeah.
And
But it actually had something underneath
Yeah,
to go
exactly.
with it. Yeah.
I in the opposite regard, Kia, leave the Stinger alone.
oh yeah, they had some. Ugh.
They had some very upsetting modified Stingers. Leave them alone.
Really?
They are great as they are. I think they look amazing.
What were they trying to do to the Stinger?
I mean, they had like a slammed one, and they had
A carbon fiber hood that took the best part of that car away. The little
little-
louvers up by the
yeah,
windshield.
Those are so cool.
Like,
What?
Yeah.
yeah. So I love the Kia Stinger. I'm a huge Stinger fan. And they ruined it with the
really
tuner
did.
ones, which
Oh, and it was just for show anyway, right? It was just
True. They're not
You
going
can't
to
like
sell
actually
it.
sell it.
Yeah, they're not producing
But
any
it's
of that
like-
stuff.
Don't bring things like that. It's gross.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Well, we started this transition by talking about the Toyota Supra.
Ugh.
Is that going to be our final one?
Yes. Do you have more?
Just one.
Hit me.
We confirmed that if our listeners were to support us and buy me one, I would absolutely drive a G70.
You know, yes. That I suppose we do have to talk about that.
That is a hell of a car.
It really is.
I would have
Was the Genesis booth in the consumer car hall or the luxury hall?
Luxury car
hall
hall.
right across from
Good.
what was on the backside of
Alpha.
Alpha? No, there's something on the backside of Alpha and then Alpha was
Maserati.
running from Maserati. Yep, right across from Maserati.
Yep. And yeah,
And on the backside, on the other angle was Audi.
yes.
Nice.
And like I said, that is becoming my favorite looking set of cars. All the way, the G70 and up.
We were actually talking about this before you got here tonight. Andrew and I were discussing this. That design looks perfect on the G80. It fits the G80 really well.
From front to back, all angles.
Yep.
That design looks
The-
perfect.
Taking that same design and putting it to the G90 makes it look kind of stretched out and weird. And taking it and putting it down on the G70 makes it look kind of compressed and weird. Like they don't look bad, but the G80 just looks like it fits the best.
On the 70, I think it looks like the E92 3 Series. Super weird comparison. But you know that when they switched to that Chris Bengal design language, for some reason it looked like compressed or something. And I definitely feel that with the G70
I don't
as
know,
well.
I guess I just didn't. I get the G90. The whole thing looks too big somehow.
Is too big.
But like there are other cars that pull off bigness. Like it's like, oh yeah, I'm designed to be big. This looks like it was made big accidentally.
A little bit.
But the G80 is great. I like the G70. I don't see, I guess what you're saying, but it's all
I don't
aesthetics.
dislike it.
But especially inside,
Yeah, they got it right.
they finally did, and we posted the video for my dad, and I made sure he saw it, and he finally starts to agree. All the switches are in the right place. The seats are just the right shape, and a bunch of people sat in them and said, "Oh, these are comfortable." So it's not just like my shape or his shape or somebody else. It was like a big tall guy was in it before I got in it, and then you got in it, and some woman got out of the passenger seat, and everyone's like, "Oh man, these seats are super comfortable." Seats are comfortable. The switchgear's in the right place. The steering wheel has the right width to it, like hands far enough apart, meaty enough. Like just, I was like, wow, the inside of this is a very pleasing place to be. I'd love to see how it drives.
If it
Definitely.
gets to the point where I can go after a luxury automobile, Genesis. Well, let's face it. If I'll use that money to get a sports car.
Yeah.
But
You'll buy a C7.
no, I won't. I wonder how they're gonna appreciate or depreciate in value.
I still think they do have a pretty heavy hit of depreciation right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they do. They're just building brand equity.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the
Yeah.
topic at hand. I would definitely go for the Genesis first. I love those cars.
Yeah.
Love
Good for them.
So now we get to get our billy clubs out
Here we go.
and beat on the Supra for a little while.
To be fair, I did everything in my power after actually seeing it and, taking the piss out of it because whatever. I tried my very hardest to come at actually seeing the sheet metal with an open mind.
Yes.
We did it last out of everything in Toyota with. We saw tons of other stuff, lots of palate cleansing between the time we finally spotted it off in the distance and then by the time we got up close. And my main takeaway, I told Tristan right after we saw it, my main takeaway is, holy shit, that's a BMW. I don't know what it is.
Almost like the Z4 style BMW.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I know that it's platform shared, but there's something about the actual presence of the car. It's not necessarily looks. It's not necessarily fit and finish. There's something about it that it just seems like a BMW to me.
Yeah, and I didn't pick up that vibe, but I'm also not as deep in BMW design as you are. I don't know all the different numbers of 3 Series and everything else.
Okay. That's, okay. Yeah.
You know, but if to me what it came off as, here's the weirdest thing: remote control car.
Really? Is that what?
Because nothing's real.
Yeah.
You look at it and you go, oh man, it's got this cool slash here, this cool vent here, a little bit of arrow here. They're all fake.
They don't do anything.
There's no vents. They're all plastic, solid plastic, not even plastic mesh.
Yeah.
They're textured plastic mesh to look like textured solid plastic to look like they're plastic mesh, and that goes somewhere, and it doesn't. It looks like somebody put like that sticker on the body of their remote control car to make it look like it had an arrow feature. It looked cheap. It looked plasticky and cheap and ugly.
Yeah, definitely ugly.
I mean, I tried to come into it with an open mind as well. And I was like, all right, here it is. Let's take a look at it. And I start, like, literally, it's right there, right at eye level. Run your hands along it, look at stuff, reach into vents. It's all
We were
right
the only
there.
people touching it, which is kind of weird, but it didn't have a sign that said no touching.
It had handprints all over it. They were the only ones touching it at that point.
Yeah, at that moment.
But I was like, God, I'm trying, and I just can't.
Did it have any performance figures listed anywhere?
No.
It had no sign.
Yeah, it had. That's true. It had hanging like overhead, like Toyota Supra.
The Supra logo.
Yeah,
That was it.
but there was really nothing else.
Yeah, because they don't have any good performance figures for it. Like,
I mean, we'll see. Oh my God, we almost forgot. Honestly, genuinely, the actual highlight of the auto show for me was also one of the most terrifying moments in my entire life. So we're sitting there.
Yes, I was waiting to get the car part over.
Yeah.
Because I was going to bookend me joining a gang with Andrew having an anxiety attack.
Almost. So we're sitting down eating lunch at one of the Connie's Pizza.
yeah.
One of the Connie's Pizza places. And suddenly this guy walks up and he's like, "Hey, I just started listening to your podcast." And I was like, what? In my head, my greatest fear is talking to people. And in my head, I was like, oh my God, it's finally happening. I've never been recognized for anything in my entire life. I
Managed to stay under the radar.
yeah, I about had a breakdown. And because I just had no idea how to react, so I just tried to play it really cool. And I'm worried that I came off to the guy as just like a dick or an asshole.
Which, if he just started listening to the podcast, he knows that already.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. So,
yeah, you stayed in character then. That's
Yeah.
fine.
And I was old because I was like, podcast? Oh, yeah, hi.
it was kind of funny. But yeah, we met a guy called Isaac. He has his own podcast, Shifting Gears podcast.
Yeah, we got to get the pronunciation right because if you Google it after saying shifting gears, you don't find it.
Yeah,
It's
Shifting, SHIFT''N Gears podcast. Actually, it's funny that we should be talking about them right now. They actually just posted their Chicago Auto Show episode today, in which they mention us, and I sent them. They posted something yesterday on their Instagram about their top 10, and I just put a comment underneath saying, "What, we didn't make the list?" And they were apparently recording when I posted that. So there's live reaction in their latest episode to what I posted on their Instagram. And so we're bringing it all the way back around. They're just on episode 3 of their podcast.
So brand new.
Yeah. Brand new.
Good luck, guys.
I want to tell people to go listen, but the problem is they know shit about cars.
Yeah, well, so if you like us, you might not like them because if you're listening to us because we're entertaining and not because we know stuff about cars, they might be entertaining and know stuff about
They know
cars.
tons of stuff about cars.
I don't want to cannibalize our listenership to people who actually know things about cars. No, I'm kidding. Super nice guy, and I'm looking forward to listening to more because I just listened to that episode myself.
Yeah, and they sound way better than we did at the start.
Yes. So
They
They
seem
got their
like they
shit
know.
together.
Yeah, they seem like they know what we're doing.
Yeah.
they're doing.
don't come to
So,
us for help.
No, but I think it would be fun. They seem like a couple of cool dudes, Paul and Isaac. So hopefully we can get together, do a little.
Do you know where
crossover
they're out
episode.
of?
I don't. Honestly.
If not, we should find out.
Yeah.
And invite them to Road America.
Oh God,
Guys,
that would be amazing.
Guys, if you're listening, come to Road America.
Join us for IMSA weekend at Road America.
Yes.
It's the best time.
We always set up a campsite, even if you don't want to be there the whole weekend. We always set up a campsite. We got a home base. Come do podcasts.
It's a really good idea. And we can do a live one
crossover
after.
episode.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be fun. Let's do it, guys. Come on.
That'd be great. Cool.
But yeah, so thanks to Isaac. I should have thought to take a picture, but I was freaking out.
Someone actually recognized you out of
Genuinely freaking out. That's never happened to me before in my whole life, and I had no idea what to do. Totally froze up.
That's awesome. Sorry I missed it.
I had to yank my attention away from my pizza.
Yeah, we're also really hungry.
We were both very hungry.
Oh man, that's awesome.
But that was fun. Yeah, shout to them.
All in all, Chicago Auto Show. My first Instagram post, as you saw, a lot of stuff is the same. We kind of hit the highlights of the interesting parts that are different this year, but always a good time. Always worth going, especially if you've got journalism to get done.
Yeah, definitely.
If you got some journalism, if you got to do
Journalism.
some journaling. Yeah. Cool. How much time do I have to actually talk about Daytona now?
As much as you want. We don't have an hour limit anymore.
Yeah,
All right.
it's true.
All right. This might be another marathon episode then, folks. We
Yeah,
we gave you a break for about 3-4 weeks.
To be fair, it's two very big events. It's just
Yeah.
Chicago Auto Show and the
Biggest
Daytona
auto show in the
500.
country. And yeah, the biggest race. Well, this side of the Indy.
This side of Indy. Yeah. So, well, these two were cold
Scared.
and scared.
Cold and anxious.
I was warm and content down in Florida. If anything else, it's great to get away from the long Midwest winter for a few days.
Yes.
Yeah, keep talking about that.
Sure,
I did it.
Sure, it was 80
just-
and sunny.
Oh my God,
anytime.
that's what you guys traded places in Florida, basically.
We did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Daytona for me, if nothing else, it's a cure for the cabin fever. Mm-hmm. Because, Daytona, legitimately Daytona is the beginning of the major race season with the Rolex at the end of January, but then that rolls right into NASCAR Speed Weeks. And this is kind of an annual pilgrimage. My mom has joined us a few times, but we've kind of shunned her away, not because we don't want her there, but because she brings bad weather. Every time she's been there, it's been rained out. And every time my dad and I go by ourselves, it's sunny and warm and fine. So,
Bad luck, that's all.
and actually, my mom was calling from talking to my dad from Vegas where they go up for the winter, and it was raining in Vegas.
Ooh.
And it's actually, this entire city just shut down over the last
Yeah.
couple of days for
both,
snow.
Both their snowplows are ready to go.
Oh my God.
Both snowplows.
I saw
are
your
ready.
dad's Facebook post.
Yeah, the entire city has 2 snowplows.
Nice.
So it's a good thing we kept my mom in Las Vegas. But, so yeah, my dad and I go down every year, kind of friends of family. We put together father, son, hot weather, cold beer, fast cars kind of trip. And we finally get to see cars on track with our own eyes. So
With the all new aero package and stuff.
Daytona was the last race of the old aero
Oh
package.
shit, was it really?
New
I thought it was
aero
all new.
package. New aero package starts at Atlanta.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
So
It is NASCAR. I don't know very much.
so
Only what he told us on the Dr. Nick episode.
That's how I learned too.
you're welcome. So it's a 4-day excursion. We fly 4-day. We fly in Thursday afternoon. From the rental car, we head right up to the racetrack because Daytona it's unique in all forms of motorsport as far as how they qualify for the 500. You have single car qualifying the Sunday before, but the only 2 cars that are actually locked into their positions are the front row, first and second.
So this is all for Monster.
For Monster Cup, not for Xfinity, not for trucks. So Thursday's races are the qualifying races. So if you didn't qualify, well, actually the guys who qualified first and second start the race too, but it doesn't really matter. Everyone else is racing for their qualifying position, which seems like it'd be pretty exciting. You want a good spot, you got to race for it. The new, more modern rules have kind of delegated that away.
Sure.
So if you need to go to a backup car between qualifying and the race, you automatically have to start in the back.
Ah, okay.
So there's one. Two, these teams now buy what they call charters, which is like a full season entry fee. So if you show up to all 36 races and you have a charter, you're in the show. You have no chance of missing the race.
Oh, okay.
So these guys, so now what this race has become is, hey, we're in regardless. It's 500 miles. We got a bunch of time to make up positions. Let's just kind of ride around and get this over with. Because we don't want to wreck the cars.
Of course.
So, my dad and I decided, we've seen these qualifiers for the past few years. They're kind of blah. Let's try something else. So Thursday, instead of going to watch the qualifiers, we went to Volusia Speedway Park. It's about a half hour inland west of Daytona.
Well, you can't go a half an hour east of Daytona.
Right.
That's the ocean.
So the ocean isn't a half hour away either.
I know, that's what I mean.
There. But we went a half hour west of Daytona inland where all of the alligators live.
Yes.
At the same time?
At one spot right there.
Occasionally, they kind of go up and down.
To see some dirt track racing. Volusia Speedway Park holds the Dirt Car Nationals, which is actually, I've come to find out once I got there, a 10 or 11 days consecutive of racing.
Whoa. Whoa, that's too much racing.
That is crazy. There's, like the wing sprint cars are like most of week one, which we missed. And then the second week is the dirt late models and the dirt modifieds, which is what we got to see. And you drive up to the place, and there are RVs next to RVs next to RVs on top of RVs blocking RVs.
And this is on Daytona weekend.
This is on Daytona weekend, and these people aren't there to see Daytona. These people are here to see dirt racing for 12 days straight.
Damn.
Like, they are dedicated people. It is crazy how many people showed up to this. Like, we're pulling in, and like we knew it was going to get out late. And we're staying with friends of ours down there who are at the qualifiers. They might get back to the condo before we did. And my dad's like, "Oh my God, we're gonna wake them up because we're not gonna get out of here. like we're not gonna get back till 3 a.m. What is this?" So, I've seen sprint car races a long time ago. This is the first time I've seen dirt late models and dirt modifieds. And I sent you guys the videos. I'm gonna figure out a way to post them. These things are nuts. Okay, like 800 horsepower in these things.
In the dirt.
In the dirt. This is a half mile track. The dirt late models were averaging 95 miles an hour on dirt, not even pavement.
That's crazy.
It was nuts. And you're sitting there and you see this thing coming at you at 95 miles an hour. 800 horsepower, just like shattering your eardrums in what can only be described really as like a controlled spin, a controlled crash. Like, just the right rear is trying like all hell to pass the front of the car. Like, they're maintaining control. You can hear them like with the throttle trying to find the right amount of grip. It looks like they're going to just broadside the fence right in front of you and everybody's going to die. Somehow at the last second it grips and shoots off down the front stretch like a bat out of hell. And it is a spectacle. It was crazy. And the fields were massive. 52 of these dirt late models were there.
God.
Wow. 52 of them.
In one race?
Not in one race.
Okay, thank God. How big are the fields in one race?
So at first they split them up into a bunch of heat races,
sure,
to try to set the field for the feature. The feature took half of them, so it was a 26 cars on a half-mile dirt track.
God damn.
No tail to tip.
Yeah, just all the way
they're
around.
like halfway around the track already.
Yeah, like the guy who starts in the back is about a half a lap behind the leader when the green flag drops. He's already at such a huge disadvantage. So we loved this. It's weird to say this, but we loved like the visual, the spectacle of these things, like sliding around barely under control. The modifieds too put on a really good show, but we came very ill prepared. What we forgot was that as soon as these cars drive past you, what will closely follow is a dust bowl.
Yes.
And like we had jackets, we zipped them up, like we were covered there, but without any eye protection. Like we would watch them come at us, and then we'd either have to close our eyes or turn away, which means that when you add it all up, we missed probably half of the race because we were looking away. So I thought it was a good time, but next time, in order for me to like make a fair assessment of what this thing is actually about, I need to be able to watch the whole thing. So I'm definitely going to bring like the construction safety classes or motorcycle clears or something like that, just
goggles.
so I can, or ski goggles, whatever, just to keep, like some of these guys had like surgical masks or like paintball masks. Like there were people who like knew their shit. I mean, if they're camping out there for like 12 days, like they're diehards, they know what to expect.
The Punisher bandana.
Like my dad and I looked like way out of place. They had hoods up, like it was. Yeah, it's a different crowd, but it was fun. Like I said, I would like to go back and be able to watch the entire thing with eye protection, but we'll see another time maybe. So that was Thursday. Friday, we posted the pictures on Facebook. We went to a very historic place for a meal. For those of you who don't know, before the Daytona National Speedway was built, NASCAR used to race on the beach. So it was half on the beach, and then they'd turn out onto Atlantic Avenue, and they'd run a big oval there. And the place we ate at was called the North Turn because it is at the exact location where the cars would turn from the beach to Atlantic Avenue on the north side of the speedway. Self-explanatory, right?
They did have that picture of the old track on the wall, which is really cool, actually.
Yeah, it's a restaurant and a museum.
Okay.
There's memorabilia, there's pictures, there's actual race cars, like old race cars in there. And then they just knocked out the wall on the beach side, and they built a massive deck so you can eat like out over the water.
Nice.
Or over the beach, like looking out at the ocean. Food was, I mean, it was diner food, you know, it was good. It wasn't like 5-star by any means, but cool little historical perspective. And then we finally got to go see racing at the Speedway, which was Friday night was the Truck Series. 250 miles, and the green flag fell and a demo derby broke out.
Or maybe EA. I don't know.
No, I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, great. But if you're a purist, like we are, we're just like, oh my god. Literally half the race. If you look up the stats and like the results in the score sheet, half the race was yellow flags.
Boring.
I don't think they got more than 10 consecutive green laps in before the yellow came out again.
Did they have a new package or just start of the year, younger drivers?
All of that.
Everything.
So 32 trucks started. 5 finished without damage.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
That's terrible.
5 finished without damage.
That's awful.
Now, there were a few that still managed to kind of putt around at the end on the apron, so I think maybe 12 were actually running, but 5 of them without damage.
Oh my god.
Like, it was just every 3 laps, someone would run into somebody else. There was a couple that, you know, like, shit happens, like somebody's tire blew, they didn't have a control over it. But it was just, like, every time you looked up, there was someone else backwards or on fire or whatever.
Both.
If it's Super Travail.
The only thing that didn't happen was someone going upside down, thankfully.
You don't want that.
But pretty much everything else happened.
Don't worry, we had that while you were gone.
What?
The snow. All the snow. Like, people were upside down.
Oh, in the
I
snow.
did not see anyone upside down.
I saw 2.
You know, with my job, I actually get snow days, so you can suck it.
Weird
Is the
flex.
message there.
Weird flex, but okay.
Not a weird flex. I get paid to not go to work.
Okay.
So,
I get to drive my car in the snow and then get paid.
anyway, quick shout out, congrats to Austin Hill. He avoided the wrecks.
He was one of the lucky 5.
He was one of the lucky 5, and he was the first of the 5 to cross the line.
Ta-da.
So it was his first career win.
Ooh.
So first wins are always big. Amplify it by pick a number when the first one is actually at Daytona.
I was gonna say.
So good for him. He made it. So we're walking away from that thinking that sucked. So hopefully Saturday is going to give us a better show. Saturday didn't give us a better show.
Aw.
Super excited for the Xfinity race on Saturday because historically that's been the best race of these weekends.
Well, also a friend of the podcast, Josh Balicki.
Also looking forward to see what Josh Balicki
Shiny new car.
in the
could do
Camaro.
in the Camaro, the Dr. Squatch Camaro.
Got their soap. It's good.
Yeah.
I have golden moss.
Got cedar and some.
I don't
Sorry.
have them. Sorry.
Hashtag soap life.
Hear that, Josh? Nick doesn't support you.
I just found out who they were this weekend. Calm down. The shipment's in the mail, okay? I soapscribed. So it's called a soapscription. Don't give me that
understand.
face.
Okay.
So yes, excited to see what Josh can do in much more competitive equipment than he had been in. In the condo, I was watching qualifying in the morning, and I was like pacing through the living room because he qualified like third he qualified like third in line.
Right, yeah.
Out of 40. So, and he went to the, first of 3. Great.
Fantastic.
And then cars kept going. All of a sudden it's like, wait, 23 cars have gone and Josh is still first. Like, this is
Damn.
fucking insane.
Damn.
Like, he actually has a piece underneath him. So these guys must have seen what happened the night before and just got really scared
Sure.
because they didn't do anything. We thought we avoided the parade of the qualifying races by not going to the qualifying races. Nope. Happened on Saturday. So they all got in line
And stayed there.
stayed in line. One yellow flag for the 300 miles. And I don't have a problem with caution-free races. We've seen them in IMSA. We've seen them in IndyCar.
They're great.
A lot of
Yeah.
times they're very good races. Not this one. And because of this, Josh was kind of victim to what, pit stop sequences under green flags and what car he happened to be behind to draft with. And some of them maybe weren't as good as his, so they couldn't really make any moves anywhere. Listening to him on the radio, it was very obvious they had a plan for him.
Sure.
Like, and I don't know if they're still kind of underfunded. Like, for God's sake, keep the fenders on it. Like, just don't do anything crazy. Keep the fenders on it. It was kind of funny. Like, it was obvious that he couldn't make any decisions with anything. Like, they're coming in, getting ready to come in for a pit stop, and they have windshield tear-offs, right, in case there's any, oils or whatever else, that they just peel it off for better vision. And they asked him, like, how's the windshield? We need a tear-off? And he goes, no, it's good. And they said immediately, okay, so we're going to take a tear-off. It's like, you can't even decide that, really.
Will you text us at one point? What was it? 40 laps to go. He was running 13th.
40 laps to go. He was running 13th.
Damn.
And then they had to do one last pit stop, and he kind of got cycled back. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, they're all just kind of running in a line. And his spotter had said, like, the car who was in front of him, like, hey, this guy can't suck up to the next car in the draft. Like, he's not someone you want to be behind. Try to get him if you can. And Josh came on the radio and said, I can't do anything. If I pull out, no one's going to come with me to draft. Mm-hmm. He's like, anybody who moves is a sitting duck for whatever reason. He's like, I got nothing. So he just kind of had to ride there like everybody else did. And that parade ended, and
That parade ended.
we left going, well, that sucked.
So, did you get any relief on Sunday?
Yes. For the vast majority of the day, yes.
Good. Good.
The race on Sunday, very few yellows. There was a couple kind of scattered in like a normal race, but these guys were actually making passes. They were going 2 wide. They were going 3 wide. They were bump drafting each other. Very controlled, very professional, like the top level series should be. NASCAR Monster
makes
Cup,
sense.
premier stock car racing series in the world. Like, the best 40 drivers you can put in a stock car. They were driving like it, and it was actually very entertaining. Then we hit 10 laps to go. And
So close.
When suddenly,
the last 10 laps took an hour of time, had 3 yellows and 2 red flags.
oh, the red.
Oh,
And in the end, 3 cars did not have crash damage.
Damn. I did, well, admittedly, I think everyone by now has seen the recording of the big crash that took out
21 cars in one in one
I call it the mulcher.
I call it the vulture.
And the weird thing is like people have become so desensitized to that. It's like, well, there's the big one. Like everyone knows it's gonna happen, and it's like it doesn't have to happen. These guys don't have to get stupid. Like,
I just picture
It doesn't have to
crashing
be
on
this way.
Exactly, the crashing on the far side of the track. Nick stands up in defiance. It doesn't have to be this way.
but it doesn't. Like, if you're so, it's so frustrating.
Wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Exactly.
Like, I get it.
As the rain comes down.
His mom arrives in the rain.
Well, I mean, you did it for 190 laps, guys. I get that, no more Mr. Nice Guy. You're not going to let anybody in where you normally did early in the race. You're going, it's Daytona. You want to blah, 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 all that good stuff. You don't just have to tear up all your equipment. Like, there was a couple of times where they show the replay and what a couple of these guys did trying to make a pass, and it's like, there wasn't room for a third of your car to fit there. What did you think was going to happen?
It was very Alan McNish at Le Mans-ish.
Drag the brake, bruh. Like, that's not going to work.
It's Daytona, bro.
So, on top of that, of the 3 cars that didn't have any damage, my 2 least favorite drivers were in there, and they finished 1-2.
Personally, it was a very tough weekend.
It was
we're learning.
It was a tough day. And then I posted the picture on Facebook. There's this group that sits in front of us, and they've been sitting in front, same seats for I don't know how many years. 2 husband-wife couples. Husbands are very nice dudes. I don't know what the problem with the ladies are.
God.
But they hate us, and we don't like them back.
I didn't know there were interseat politics.
Didn't know this. I must have missed this post on Facebook.
This lady, so she's sitting in the front of our section's an upper section, right? It's not like down on the fence. So, but this group is the front row of the section. Like, no obstructions. It's just like the knee-high or waist-high level guardrail. 30 laps to go. This lady pulls out a freaking Kindle. Front row of her section at the Daytona freaking 500, and she's reading a book.
Maybe it was about NASCAR.
It was not. I read over her shoulder. It was not. I read over her shoulder.
Shoulder surfing.
Oh my
It was
God.
so, like, why are you even there? Those tickets aren't cheap.
Maybe she doesn't like racing, but she goes for her husband, for the couple's experience.
And then the other lady just butts into our conversation. Like, I mean, it's loud. If you want to talk to the person sitting next to you, you're going to, be loud to get over the engine noise. And then she just turns around and, like, throws, like, rude answers at us. Like, when we're trying to have a discussion.
Sounds like you'd love her, Andrew.
It's like, nobody freaking asked you, lady. Turn around.
Would find a window and then defenestrate her.
The race is the other way. Look that way.
Maybe they think that y'all are friends because you've sat near each other for so many...
But she's not friendly. That's the point.
I feel like we're uncovering an entire portion of your life that we didn't know anything
They
about.
built the opposite of a rapport.
Yeah.
Over time, relations have gotten worse.
And again, both of their husbands are nice folks. We have pleasant conversations with them. I don't know what it is about the ladies in that group, but anyway, the one was reading a book.
All right.
That one was reading a book with 30 laps to go in the biggest race of the year. 100% out. I have no hope for her.
I mean, just said, is this what I sound like?
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
It got a little sample of what it's like to be you for a day.
I mean, I did not expect any of that coming from you.
That was, hey,
Is this what I sound like?
Hearing it,
Yes.
it sounded like me.
It did, yes.
that was my Andrew moment, my first Andrew moment of this podcast.
God, that's
it took me
awesome.
a little over a season, but yeah, all in all, it's always good to get away from the winter. It's good to see cars on track finally.
Cars all over the track. If you're
all
not
over the
lucky.
track, all over the infield,
Yup.
all over the garage area. It was cool to see Josh race in person in a car that you know is competitive. So excited to see what the next, what 2019 holds for him. Best of luck, Josh. We're pulling for you.
We have to go to Road America this year now.
Oh God, yeah, he could win it.
We have to be there.
He's got a good car and he's a road track racer.
He's got a better car, and he is a road racer at heart.
Yeah, he was doing really well before his catastrophic failure last year.
Yeah, even with an engine that wouldn't pull.
Exactly.
He made that dive bomb pass on Hall of Famer Bill Elliott.
Yeah. God. We need to get Bill Elliott out of here. I mean, he's got like one win. All right. All right.
Anyway.
NASCAR Hall of Fame discussion for another day.
Yeah, but
All right. So then rate the weekend. Out of 10.
Weather was a 10. Thursday races were probably a 7 because of just because of the dirt and looking away. Like I was really enjoying the rest of it. Friday was a 4. Saturday was a 1.
Oh my God.
And
It's going down.
Sunday would have been a 9 or a 10 if it wasn't for the last 10 laps and the two most loathsome drivers finishing 1-2. So I'm going to give it a 7.
Loathsome.
190 laps.
word.
190
Wow.
laps of a 10, and like the last 10 laps of a 0. So overall, the trip. Look, you'll be very hard pressed to have me give like an overall negative review on stuff like this because I'm a big experience guy. I get away from the winter. I get the weather. It's a cool time with my dad and some friends. Like I enjoyed it. I really did. I didn't have to think about work for a few days, So
Well, then there's only one last piece of business. You also saw the Supra in person. Because you sent us a picture mere minutes before we were subjected to it.
yeah, because you said, I think it's gonna be here
I
too.
think there's one of those here too.
Yeah. It's so bad. It's so bad.
bad.
It's so bad. And Toyota actually had a pretty decent booth there.
Yeah, I suppose they would.
Well, I mean, Ford, Chevy, and Toyota are the 3 manufacturers, so they have a huge presence.
The Supra is going to be the car next year for them.
The Supra is the car
Yeah,
this year.
this
in
year
Xfinity.
now.
That's right.
yeah.
That's right already.
And that's what they had it sitting next to the race version, like
Of
a racing
course.
show car. And like NASCAR has set templates for the body, for the dimensions. The road car fits none of them.
Right.
So really this is just a generic shell with Supra stickers and that ugly elephant
face.
tusk nose face thing that it's got. It is so bad.
So the actual car you think is like, seeing the physical metal of the road car. Obviously, we know the NASCAR is hilarious.
Of the road car, it was actually smaller than I thought it was going to be.
Quite small.
Knowing what it was platform shared with in BMW's line gave me a size estimate that I was pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was smaller than I thought it was going to be. It was just as ugly, if not uglier, than the pictures.
Quite ugly.
The reason I asked you if they had any performance figures at the show is because they had, again, nothing. It was
Yeah, not a one.
They didn't have a sign that said Super either. It was just sitting there.
What is this?
Boy, that's weird though. If we really think about the rollout versus now that the car is out, quote unquote, that's weird. The way they're doing this now is getting weird.
There wasn't even like MSRP on it.
No, there
There was
no details.
no details at all. Like, and it seemed like all of the Toyota reps or the marketing reps that work for contracted to Toyota in the booth, they're just spending all their time down by the Tundra.
There was not a one around the one
Yep.
at the Chicago Auto Show either.
There's no one there to answer any
there's
questions.
10 million of those people just in the Toyota booth.
Yep.
Not one was within 60 yards of the frickin' Supra.
Yep, same thing.
What is going on?
Same thing. It's weird, man.
All right.
It's weird.
We're going to have to do investigative reporting.
Crawl.
The
underneath
Milwaukee
it.
Auto Show's coming up.
It is.
I wonder if we can go there and try to
We'll have to.
weasel
At
our
this
way
point.
in. See what we can find out more about the Supra if it's there.
It'll be there. They don't have a choice now.
Yeah.
They're committed.
Yeah, they're committed. They can't back out now. So that was my trip. Yeah, Supra. Whatever.
Well, I mean, we got famous. You just saw some bad racing. You know, it's all.
Got famous. Hey, you
I wore my podcast shirt on Sunday. I saved it for Sunday when the most people are going to be there.
Of course.
Right? Biggest impact. And I had comments on every shirt I wore that weekend. My Because Race Car one got a couple of compliments. And then I had my Raikkonen Leave Me Alone, I know what I'm doing.
Classic.
That one that one got a lot of bumps. And then, I wore a Check Engine podcast on Sunday. And a couple of people asked, hey, is that yours or is that your buddy's? I think one guy made me feel a little bit more of a confidence boost, made me feel way bigger than it actually is. Because I was going up the seats to get a beer, and this guy kind of reached out to stop me. And I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, is that your company?
And you said
Yes. I said yes. It's a podcast that my friends and I do. And he's like, what's it about? I'm like, do you like cars? And he said, well, right. And he said, well, I wouldn't be here if I didn't. I said, then you will like this.
You'll like this.
So
Well, hopefully he's listening now.
hopefully he's listening now.
And Nick was bored, Andrew got famous, and I got a posse.
That's
Is the word, I believe.
That's
That's what the children say.
Yes.
That's what happened this weekend.
Yes.
Oh man.
Satisfying weekend all around.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yes. I would rate it a solid 7+ out of 10 at the auto
Sounds
show
about
in
right to me.
general.
Yeah. I would say 7 or 8 for the whole weekend. Just again, because I can't do anything overall negative on this, despite the people sitting in front of me.
Now I got to meet those people. Like this is wow.
You don't want to meet
You don't wanna meet
You don't
these
want to meet
people.
those people.
Someone
You don't
that
wanna
would
meet-
make him that.
You'd
Listen.
kill them.
You would
I
push
can't-
them over that
I
railing.
can't let you see them because we need to keep doing this
Can't
podcast.
let you see that.
Yeah, exactly.
And Florida has the death penalty.
Yeah, just egregiously pushing them over that railing to their death is not the way to go about this.
He would.
I know
think
he would.
Why do you think that murder is my first impulse? I just said I'd throw it through a window.
Shouldn't have to die.
That's her choice.
Stuntmen do it all the time, and they're fine.
Oh, okay, fine.
Oh man,
I would
we
not
better.
throw anyone through a window. I would just walk away.
We would. All right, we better wrap up
Yeah,
before we go too
We
far
need
down.
to not record on weeknights.
Yeah.
Like normal weeknights. I'm not mentally
Prepared for this. Well, like we mentioned at the very top of the episode, we're not professionals, so if you're still listening, you know. I mean,
Congratulations.
yeah, congratulations and thanks. So let's wrap this thing up so we can get out of here. Who are we thanking, or what are we thanking?
I want to thank car manufacturers who show out for something like the Chicago Auto Show. I mean, they don't necessarily have to. Look at what happened to Detroit. Look at what happened to every other auto show. But
So even Chicago, no Mercedes.
well, there was no Mercedes.
There was one other one that we were like, oh, well, who's? Yeah, it's like
Beamer.
Yeah, there were
Yeah,
people
no,
missing.
BMW. But this year, I feel like the people who did come really brought it, and you'll always see something you've never seen before that gets you excited. That really gets you like, yeah, I like this. I like cars, and I like this
I always leave
technology.
the auto show
and-
wanting to buy another car.
Oh yeah, for sure, and
Yeah,
that's great.
That's
so,
the whole point.
So thanks to the ones who try.
I would like to thank the. It's a qualified thank you because it exists only because Illinois decides to charge tolls for their interstates. But with that in mind, I'd like to thank the iPass which reduces my chance of stalling my car to 0 because I
True.
just get to roll right through. I don't have to stop at that toll booth and potentially be very embarrassed.
Oh my God.
What?
We never talked about the fact that Tristan has actually been sending me irresponsibly hateful texts over the fact that a couple weeks ago he drove my car to his house and now he hates his shifter.
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's a piece of agricultural equipment. I love everything else about it. I think my engine is better. I think my suspension setup is better.
Mm-hmm.
It has 4 doors. You can easily get in the back of it.
True.
And it shifts like a tractor.
But that's perfect for Andrew because he doesn't want to ride with anybody, so he's making it as difficult
I know,
as
but
possible.
for me, I much prefer my car, except the bit that goes like this. Yeah.
Really?
I'll count that as a victory. I said it defines the entirety of the car. so.
I may have to. We still have to have me drive both of them.
Yes, and we will do that. And I'm totally sidetracking us. We're not even supposed to be talking about other shit now.
So
Thank you, iPass.
thanks to iPass. I would like to. I don't know this person's name, but I would like to thank whoever the author is of that book that lady was reading.
Oh my God.
Because if you can write a book that's more interesting than a front row seat at the biggest race of the year, you're doing something right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you.
What if it was 50 Shades of Grey? How would you feel then?
Still congratulations.
Congratulations.
Stick by it.
The topic of the book is irrelevant.
Oh boy.
And as always, we want to thank you, the listeners, for tuning in. Even if we suck, you guys are awesome. And we know because you're so awesome that you're going to reach out and talk to us on social media about this episode and other episodes. Because we're on Facebook at Check Engine Podcast. And we're also on Twitter at
Check Engine Pod.
And we're also on Instagram at
Check Engine Pod. Although that should just go to you now. You're doing that too.
We're making a big.
Started to.
We've
put
got a
some more
bigger
stuff on
presence
Instagram.
on the Instas lately.
Yeah, I have started to put some stuff on Instagram, and yeah, I mean, like I said right at the top of the episode, it's getting likes and not subscribers. What are they on Instagram? Followers. And that's super encouraging for us because sometimes it can feel like we're alone.
Although less and less each day. I know Nick is normally the one that does this, but thank you, listeners and viewers. When we have videos, I almost said viewers, but thank you, listeners, because I was just going through the Anchor stats the other day, and it's mind-boggling. Mm-hmm. Like it feels like just 2 months ago we were celebrating like 2,000 listens.
Yeah,
we're at almost 6,000 now.
Dude, I checked the other day and we're almost at 5. I was going to say something. I checked
We're
on
at 5.9.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is so crazy. I didn't hear that before.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I checked that when you told me to check the.
Yeah.
Like 2 days ago, I checked it and we were at 4.8.
It might be 4.9. I thought it was 5.9, but I'll do it. But it's
don't do that to me.
But it still is mind-boggling from like almost a year to in just like it's because it was March when we started last year. So almost a year. About 90% of that was celebrating getting to 2,000.
Yes.
And either way, 4.9 or 5.9, more than double that in like just the last 2 months.
And the graph since we got back from the break goes almost vertical.
Yes.
No, it really does.
It does. Like
the time
December
of-
is a little but then January keeps going, and February, even though we're not done yet, almost doubles January again.
Yeah.
So thank you, listeners.
And that has nothing to do with us.
No, that is entirely listener driven. People sharing it, people talking about it. Thank you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. If you are really into it, you can support us as well. We have a support page on Anchor, anchor.fm/Check Engine Podcast. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Check Engine Podcast. If you want to help us advance this little project of ours even more.
Ooh, teaser. We have what will probably be the first or second concrete result of our patronage coming up soon.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's going to be fantastic. Folks, it's been a marathon episode tonight, so thanks for sticking with us. We're going to let you go get on with your business, so we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.